What's up, YouTube? What you do? You know already. Coming at you with another video. And this video here today is very simple, but very informative. And you know, so shout out to everyone. You know, peace and love to the people. Hope everyone is doing great, living healthy, and staying love. You know what I mean? Peace and love to everybody. A lot going on in the environment, you know, it's a busy evening, afternoon, late evening, you know, so just taking in the environment. But anyway, today's video, and you know, before I get into it, do remember to subscribe to my channel, like and share, you know, hit the notification for whenever I upload video, you know, you'll be the first to know and to hear, and you know, so yeah. Yardman Garden and Arts TV. That's it right there. But anyway, today's video, as I said, is a simple but informative video. And before I get into it, today's motto is the more you learn, more you know, is the more you learn, more you grow for free. You know, so more you know and more you learn is the more you grow for free. And you can just say more you know is the more you grow for free. So this gonna be one of our motto and one of our slogan, you know. So, and it's simply in the sense that there's so much that we can regrow from what we already have, you know. Simply in the sense that you can regrow vegetables and fruits from, you know, fruit that you eat or from seed that you're gonna throw away in the first place, you know what I mean? So almost anything that you grow, you can grow it from something that you already utilize, you know what I mean? So a lot of our vegetables and fruit, we can regrow it from just store bought and, you know, reuse product that we're gonna throw away. Whether we're gonna throw it away outside in the garbage or in our compost, a lot of it we can regrow. So the more you know, the more you grow for free. That's the slogan, that's the motto right now. But simply, this video today is basic of, you know, ways that you can create fertilizer. You know, organic fertilizer. And this is a very special and unique way of creating fertilizer. And you know, this is called liquid fertilizer. Liquid fertilizer. Today we have our garbage, old garbage container here. You know, I've made compost in this before, but it's a whole different type of compost. And all you need is simple material like this. You know, all green weeds and just shrubs that I was gonna you know, same thing, throw away, you know, all this was gonna get thrown away, utilized back into the earth. It does go back to fertilizer. So but this time we're just making a quick and efficient way of fertilizer for our garden in the near future. So this, in reality, you know, a month, you know, I can be able to use this that I'm starting here today. And these, all this is just weed from the yard. You know what I mean? There's creeping Charlie. Anybody know what's this? Dandelion. So yeah, that's dandelion. I forgot this exactly what this weed called exactly again, but overall it does have medicinal benefit. It's known to use for like therapeutical medicine, you know, like for pain and for inflammatory and just that type of stuff. You know, people who trouble with arthritis and pain can make a whole drink and or a rub ointment. But yeah, this is dandelion and just all, you know, bad stuff. Like even this weed here, if you can see close, all these thorns that's on the leaf. You know, it's still kind of spiky, but you know, because it's kind of coil and been sitting from pulling up out the dirt. As you see, I pull it by the root. You know, so it's not as deadly, you know, or just it's not as spiky. You know, I still feel it, but it's kind of a bit soft, guys. You know, it's got wilted. But when it's in the soil though, all firm and up, you know, it's almost very difficult to pull it without wearing a gloves or anything, because there's all these thorns, you see. You know, they're not the most firm, you know, as they on a leaf, you know, so it's not like it's on a steady and a firm surface where you can't bend, so then, you know, you poke it, it will just stick you instead of the leaf is falling in, you know, so. But it's still a dangerous plant. I can imagine certain animal would want to eat this, you know. Imagine you being a goat or a sheep or a deer trying to eat this thing, or, you know, a cow, donkey or whatever, you know. So I can imagine that animal probably won't eat this, you know, they would go past this. But anyway, all this weed, creeping Charlie, and here's our bucket or our bin. Already have a ton of water, already have a ton of leaf. These were just some extra onion. Actually, this one I will look to regrow it back as well. So like I said, anything, you know, more you know and more you learn, you can grow for free. So same thing with this onion right there. Voila, I'm gonna plant this and I'm gonna get new onion, you know what I mean. So that's just how it works, simply, you know what I mean. There's no rocket science to it, and there's no special hard method to it, you know. Something like this I'm gonna regrow and get new onion in the future. Same thing with all of this. So it's just from my kitchen, drinking some organic kombucha, and some spirulina. That's what make it this green. As you see, it's a wild berry, so a different color. It's green from my spirulina. And I always have to try to be healthy, take care of your body. Kombucha is as you see, fermented tea and probiotic. But anyway, this is a simple process, simple, and it's basically catching water in a bucket and make magic, you know what I mean. Simple. So catching water in a bucket and putting leaves to ferment, basically. Or in this regard, these leaves that I'm putting in here, all the minerals, vitamins gonna extract in this water that we're gonna use in the future to water our plant, you know. Full liquid fertilizer, you know what I mean. There's so much nutrients and microbes it's gonna release into this water, right back into the soil, you know. So there's many ways of creating fertilizer, you know, like for example chop and drop, you know, and which is, you know, that's my garden space right there, you know. So say a lot of weed was growing, or, you know, just weeds around on the ground, I could pull it, drop it same place at my plant root. It would, you know, decompose and give valuable nutrients to my plant, especially nitrogen. You know, a green plant like these, green stuff like this, pack and loaded with nitrogens and full of, you know, different essential mineral vitamins, you know, amino acid, especially some of these stuff that I took from the dandelion is very healthy and rich in so much minerals, you know. So it's the same thing, no difference, you know. This water already having a color, you know, from some stuff that I put in there was already fermenting, you know what I mean. So this is just gonna be loaded with mineral, vitamins, and fully loaded with organism and microbes that plant does thrive on, you know, and love. I picture this all dead plant basically that you pull. They already had nutrients in them. They already have different nutrients, you know, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, magnesium, all different nutrients, and you take it and put it in the water that is gonna decompose and release in that water. So imagine how that water is, you know. So basically it's a liquid fertilizer, you know. When this extract and come to its full potential, within a month you can start using it, you know. The longer you keep it, the more you get potent, obviously, and more release into the water, you know. But within a month I can be able to come and use this, and it's ready. Strong liquid fertilizer. So you basically can ratio it like a 10 to 1 water, you know. the compost tea or just the compost here, that water compost that, you know, all these minerals and nutrients dissolve into. You know, you put in a container in a water feed or whatever, and ratio of 10:1, plant, water your plant, and you know, your plant will love you for it. But yeah, simple process, simple thing, nothing hard here. There's so much weed already in here. I already stuff a lot of it, you know, in this sense. The weed is submerging, you know, but say if I was using a container where it wasn't staying down, I could simple get a cinder block like this. It's been sitting here, not doing anything, and for the longest time, could finally put to some use. And yeah, you could just set this in here to kind of submerge and keep your leaves down and all your weeds submerged in the water like that. So as you see, just that difference it makes. They all would come by right back up top. And there's a lot, you know, there's so much down in it, but some always gonna float up, and it's a great way to keep them at bay, keep them down submerged, and you know, just leave them to make magic, you know. And so yeah, we're gonna keep piling this here. You know, look at even this. See, something that wouldn't break down typically, even if you start a compost bin. You know, it take a while. In this water, obviously they're not gonna be disappear within a month or break down to nothing, but there's so much of it that's gonna dissolve and kind of rot in the water. It is anaerobic, you know, so it's definitely gonna stink and smell as it starts to decompose and release in the water. So it's not anything pleasant in that regard, you know. I mean, I know compost definitely is not something that's gonna be, you know, having a good smell. But you know, that stuff that rotten, you know, especially vegetables or anything like that, does have a bad smell to it. Yeah, look at that. All with the roots and everything. And you know what's cool about liquid fertilizer opposed to making traditional compost? You know, making compost, you do have to get your compost bin heated up to a certain temperature for it to work enough where your compost, you know, your plant and all your organism decompose into a soil base, basically creating, you know, black gold, you know, creating your own soil, creating dirt from, you know, organic component. In that regard, a lot of time, you know, you make sure you have to have your compost bin heated up to a certain temperature, which is like around 165, you know, 160, you know, 130 though, around that bracket cannot go okay, but you don't want to get your compost really over 165, 160. That, you know, is a good heat temperature. That you really need that much to kill off all the seeds. You know, for example, this stuff that I took up earlier with all this root, a lot of time these stuff have seeds in it. If you put this in your traditional compost bin, you know, you most likely may have seed, and you use that soil spread around, there's a lot of seed may come up in your garden bed. Disregard in this situation, you kind of avoid that, you know, making liquid compost, you know. I mean, not to say that seed may not, you know, impossible fall off in the water and then you water it in the garden, that you may not have seed growth in that regard, but you do avoid and prevent a lot in using it in this way, you know. And simple, you know. I finish putting this, get some more water in it, leave it closed for a while, yeah, and within a month I can come, you know, utilize this great liquid of medicine here for my plant, you know, called liquid fertilizer. So we're just gonna turn this pipe on a bit. Get some more water in it. You know, water is definitely life, you know what I mean, a great source of life. And there's not much life without water, honestly, you know what I mean, we all know that. So later we can start a whole colonization of having water in that regard, that, you know, once you have water, you said water is life, you know. So it's a blessing to have this running water here, to be able to catch some water, create this whole science thing that's going on here. So yeah, within a month I come. Imagine all this water, all this liquid. Imagine a month from now I come. And just a cup full of this in a cup full enough, you know, 5-gallon bucket even, but say, you know, a cup full or less even, you know, in a gallon bucket. How much far it can go into my plant, you know. But I would say maybe a cup full is more like a 5-gallon, you know, like would be a good ratio, you know, because it's gonna be very potent, you know what I mean. And I'm sure, just like any other fertilizer, putting too much of it in a concentrate form may done some harm to your plant rather than just good alone, you know. There's good in everything, and there can be a little too much sometimes. So just like any other medicine can't really overdo it, you know what I mean. So that's why 10-1 is a good ratio, you know. Part 1 water, part 1 I should say compost tea, and the 10 ratio amount of water, you know. So it's really just a small amount of compost tea opposed to the amount of water that you may use when that time come around. And but yeah, I'm just gonna fill this up much as I can, you know what I mean, so I can utilize it. In the future I'm actually looking to put like a little spigot here, you know, maybe close as I can get it down to the bottom, so that I can come, you know, after I put it like on a surface, can come turn on my little thing and catch my compost tea, and you know, so I don't even necessarily have to extract it from the top. I have to come and try to use a container, you know. I mean, so make it easier in the future. But yeah, simple and easy. Making at home liquid fertilizer, can't go wrong. You know what I mean. Check this out. You know, as time come and I go to extract it and reuse it into my garden bed, I may show you how I ratio it and how I use it simply. But after this, there's not much to it rather than your plant is gonna love it. But as I expressed to you, the more you know, the more you grow for free. Check this out. So that's all free stuff right there. What's that? Potato. It's all potato that I was gonna throw away, you know, from my fridge. That, as you can see, start to grow. So all this I'm gonna regrow, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna get potato by the end of the season. Can't go wrong. I mean, look at this. I plant this in my garden bed. I'm gonna be reaping dozens of potato off just this one. So there's sweet potato already growing roots. Actually, they had longer stems on it. As you see, these kind of drying off. So I had them sitting out, exposed a bit too much sun in the regard. So you have this part trying to drying off already. So they would have been more longer, you know, as you see. You know, so they do need to be planted, really, honestly. Check this out again. What is this? I think in a previous video, probably the last video I share. Not the exact last, but anyway, the one about elderberry. Should turn off this pipe. Yeah, there we have an issue with our pipe. Stick it here and you change it to a new one. It's pretty easy, simple, nice pipe thing. Just right and left, off and on, simple. But yeah, we already have this thing come up all the way. Probably gonna empty a little bit of the water as it is a little overfill, and you know, as this getting smelly and strong, we don't really want to have it where we come against it and be wearing compost on our clothes, you know, as a cologne. So imagine that. But yeah, look at this. This is all free. This is literally a piece of piece of stick from my elderberry plant. All I did was just submerge in this water. A little over a week now, they're here. And look at it. This one is kind of in there a bit longer than the rest, the bigger limb here. This is some mulberry. As you see, mulberry. Super healthy as well I should say. Anyone know anything about mulberry? Can just come here and pick. Full of vitamin and mineral and antioxidant. You know, but it's not something that I extract or utilize a lot as far as eatable. A lot of the birds, squirrel, raccoons end up utilizing and eating this stuff. But going back to this, it's a little over a week of, you know, getting these to root. Even though they not even start to have root on it that much, there's leaves already coming off. Look at that. More you know, more you grow for free. This is something cool right here. So check out one of my previous video about elderberry. This is featuring it, and all was there was just the stem. This is all new growth. And I've told you, you know, planting that with that such healthy root system on it, which is basically a part of a elderberry plant root, that I was gonna have new growth coming in no time. And this is literally over a week after that video, and this is where we're at. So more you know, more you grow for free. You can't go wrong. Telling you. Yardman Garden and Arts TV. Subscribe to our channel. Keep following, you know what I mean, keep helping us to grow our community. It's all love, all peace. Can't go wrong, you know what I mean? So more you know, more you grow for free. You don't really have to buy a lot what you're thinking sometimes. What we spend our money on. After these elderberry, you know, I'm gonna propagate, probably keep some in pots, you know, for the future and see how those go or grow in pots. And like I have expressed, I have some friends that I'm looking to give, you know, some new plants to. So man, this is just, it's a blessing. That's all I can say, you know. They are just growing and growing. Growing and growing. And this season we're growing tomato on the vertical. You know. This video was about a liquid fertilizer. But I have to show you a little bit of my greenery and my whole setting up right here. Just a blessings. Check this out. That's actually some okra seed that I planted last week. Literally not even a full week yet. And look at that. Already sprouting. See the lighting kind of make them dark or too bright so you couldn't see the greenery that much. But look how healthy they are. These are some callaloo that wasn't planted from seed. These are actually some transplant. You know, so they're not looking the best because they were wilted and falling over. They're just catching up as transplanting something from pulling it up out the ground to put it in another area. You know, may stun it for a moment, but they're actually catching up. You can see they're firming up and gonna take off more okra. Just an example, 1 week of seed in the ground. Look at that. And it's just a blessing. Really an honor. We have some beans over here already. Stacking some beans, you can see. I have a watermelon plant we want to get going so we can channel it across this whole metal thing here. I have this old car here, you know, people always admire that old car. But look at it, you know, it's not ours, as we see, it's not anyone that live in this yard at the moment, you know. But I feel like it's going to a stage where it's probably not gonna be usable whenever a person come around. You know, it's definitely rusting up and having a lot of mold growing on it. But yeah, this video, you know, it's getting a bit longer than we wanted it, so gonna go ahead and make it. These are some squash. Yeah, my baby boy loves squash, so I literally plant him a good amount of vegetable. I know he already like, you know, I can already establish knowing what he likes. So it's gonna be a blessing this season, you know. Looking forward to share a lot of insight and videos coming on from this new growing era. So stay tuned for these vertical tomato as we using string to keep them up. And we're gonna be pruning it all the way. So that's the main stem we're gonna be have growing up. And we're gonna take on all the extra body. So stay tuned for that video coming. And like I said, you know, it's gonna be a lot of excitement this season. Oh yeah, liquid fertilizer. Easy money. Can't go wrong. You know. Stay blessed, YouTube. Stay safe, everyone. Nick from Yardman Garden and Arts TV. Peace and love to the people. You know what I mean? Like, subscribe to my channel. Follow Journey. Help me build my community here.